Hello everybody, I am Nikhil. I am faculty of economics at IASBABA. So I am here to discuss economics prelims questions. Alright, so before discussing questions, let us give me my insights about economics paper in general and generally the trend in UPSC. Alright, so the first prominent trend which I have observed this time is the number of economics questions have come down this year. Alright, the number of economics questions have come down this year. Second trend which was very prominent is UPSC has started to shift and focus more on money markets, that is the financial markets and banking. All right, now this time you do not see any question on exchange rate as such. You do not see any question on monetary policy tools, but the UPSC has started shifting its focus on banking and financial markets. All right, so this time, and the third trend which I've observed here is the economy section of your newspaper has to be read thoroughly. All right, I know it becomes difficult and at times technical for you to understand things, but I understand one thing, that a lot of questions which have featured this time, which are supposed to be tricky, could have been solved if you were a regular reader of a newspaper of the economy section. All right, make sure that you, whichever newspaper you are reading, if you read the economy section of your newspaper, that is going to fetch you higher yields in the days to come. In general, you have to be a very, an avid enthusiast of the things that are happening around you. All right, so these are the three things which prominently stand out in this exam. All right, and the fourth point which I try to emphasize is, which I always tell to my students in the class, is the moment you are strong in your core subjects, history, polity, economics, geography and environment, all right, this automatically will ensure that your seat for mains is reserved. All right, core, you have to make sure that it is very good. All right, you have to practice questions on your core subjects. All right, because these are static, fairly static. I'm not telling completely static, fairly static, and these can be manageable in this vast sea of uncontrollables in the UPSC. If something is controllable, that is the core subject. All right, so make sure these are the three or four points which you have to follow. All right, and which is going to help you in the exam in the future. So without further ado, let us try to discuss questions. All right, so why am I telling you to read newspaper is, now understand this. Now this news item was directly picked from your current affairs. US government was almost on the verge of default. So that is where this news comes from. All right, and one thing to mention is, whenever you read articles in your newspaper, make sure that you underline and highlight the keywords, and make sure that you make a note of it, only the keywords, because UPSC has this habit of picking keywords and then using it. All right, so let us read the first statement. If United States of America were to default on its debt, defaulting on debt means the government not paying your interest back. All right, you purchase a bond from the government is not paying your interest on time. That is called as defaulting the debt, interest or principal. Holders of the US Treasury bonds will not be able to exercise their claims to receive payments. So what if the government doesn't pay you back? You always have the resort to go to a court and sue the government in the court. So this option is wrong. So when I eliminate this option, so when statement 1 is incorrect, obviously and directly I will arrive at option number D as the right statement. Let's read option number 2. The US government debt is not backed by hard assets. Yes, definitely it is not backed by hard assets. It is backed by the sovereign guarantee of the government. That is the faith in the government. All right, faith people bestow on the government. So that is what the backing of the government is. So option 1 is wrong and option number 2 is right. So that statement number 1 is wrong, statement number 2 is right. So that is why option D is right. Understanding my point? So this is about it. Now second, syndicated lending. Before solving this question, let us try to understand what syndicated lending is. All right, conventionally what happens is, usually a single person or a bank tries to lend a person. All right, so this is a person who is borrowing money, and these are the lenders. All right, now if group of people come together and lend that time we call this as syndicated lending or consortium lending. All right. Now, syndicated lending means these lenders together are forming a syndicate and lending it to a person. Now, suppose in case this person defaults, in case this becomes a non-performing asset, what happens? The lending default risk is divided by these 5 people or not? Understanding my point? So the risk is spread among these 5 people. All right. So let us, with this in background, let us try to understand. Syndicated lending spreads the risk of borrower default across multiple lenders. This is the right option. All right. So statement 1 is right. Statement 2, let us see. The syndicated loan can be a fixed amount or lump sum of funds, but it cannot be a credit line. This is wrong because this can also be a credit line. So statement 2 is wrong, statement 1 is right. So we'll arrive at option number 3. That is, statement 1 is correct and statement 2 is incorrect. All right. So let us go to the next question. Let us go to the next question. This is a question on digital rupee. Now understand one thing. What is a digital rupee? Digital rupee is nothing but a digital representation of your physical cash. Physical rupee you have, the digital representation of it is digital rupee. So understand, all those concepts which apply to your physical rupee also applies to the digital rupee. All right, because it is just a representative of it. It is just a representation of it. So understand this thing. So all those concepts which apply to our physical cash also applies to digital rupee. Now let us try to understand this. Understand this. Now our physical cash, that is the rupee which we see, this rupees is a legal tender, which the RBI issues it under the RBI Act. All right. Now, with this in mind, let us try to understand. It is a sovereign currency. Yes, it is a sovereign currency. Sovereign currency. It is the currency of the country. All right. Then issued by the Reserve Bank of India. Yes, it is issued by the Reserve Bank of India under the Reserve Bank of India Act and in alignment with its monetary policy. Statement 1 is absolutely right. Let us see statement number 2. Now, whenever you see your money, whenever you see your cash, there is something that is, it is written that I promise to pay the bearer. And who is signing on it? It is the governor of RBI, because it is the liability of the governor of RBI to discharge the debt. All right, through that money. So who is having the liability of discharging the debt through your money? It is the RBI. So it appears as liability on the RBI. Understand one thing, I've already told my students in the class. So you need to be very much careful, and you need to understand and memorize the asset and liability, that is the balance sheet of RBI. All right, balance sheet of RBI. All right, so understand and memorize this. All right, so liability of the RBI is the digital rupee. Next, it is insured against inflation. This is a wrong statement, because understand one thing, what does inflation do? Inflation erodes the purchasing power of money. Inflation erodes the purchasing power of money. If with 10 rupees you were able to purchase 5 chocolates, after inflation you will be able to purchase only 1 chocolate, because it is eroding the purchasing power of money. And since digital rupee is a digital representation of your money, physical cash, it also erodes, it invariably erodes the purchasing power of the digital rupee also. So this is a wrong statement. So there is no insurance against inflation. Insurance against inflation means effects of inflation will not be there on the rupees. All right. Fourth is freely convertible against money or cash. Yes, it is freely convertible. So option 3 is wrong, and all 1, 2 and 4 is right. So option number D is the right answer. There's nothing to explain. This is a current affairs news. So option 1 and 2 are right, and option 3 is wrong. So this is a, so understand, greenfield projects are those projects which you start from the scratch. Brownfield projects are those projects which already there is an existing thing which you renovate, or you try to make it a bit more modern and then use it. So these are the 2 greenfield and brownfield projects. Total fertility rate. Yes, the average number of live births women would have by the end of her childbearing age. This is the right answer. Understand one thing. Total fertility rate always appears in your news articles whenever there is an article written on population trends, etc. All right. So why I told you in the beginning to pick the keywords whenever you read an article is because of this. Make sure that whichever keyword you come across while you are reading your article, make a note of it, search as to what that keyword means. If you do not understand, ask your teacher or your mentor and make a note of it, because UPSC has this habit of asking such questions. All right, let us go to the next question. Next question is, in India, non-banking financial companies can access the liquidity adjustment facility window of the Reserve Bank of India. This is a wrong statement. This is a wrong statement. All right. Now, what is, again, this question is picked from banking, from the chapter banking. And I told you, banking and financial markets are focused more this time. All right. And second thing is, in India, foreign institutional investors can hold the government securities. This is the right answer, but they cannot hold how much ever they want. There is a limit as to how much they can hold it. And third is, in India, stock exchanges can offer separate trading platform for debt. This is also right option. And I want to find out whether recently there is a stock exchange, BSE or NSE, which stock exchange has opened a separate trading platform for debts. All right. So option number 1 is wrong, and option 2 and 3 are right. All right. Now let us go to the next question. Now, which of the following can trade? Trade means buying and selling. Buying and selling. Corporate bonds or government securities. Insurance companies, yes, they can. Pension funds, yes, they can. Retail investors, yes, they can. So retail direct scheme was introduced by the Reserve Bank of India. All right, wherein a retail investor can directly purchase the government securities. This was a fairly important news. So all these 3 are right. All right. Now next, exchange traded funds, currency swap, motor vehicles. Which of the following are the financial instruments? Now motor vehicle 1 and 2 is right. Motor vehicle is not a financial instrument. So option number 1 and 3 is right. All right. Now here, this is about the basic concepts of economics. So as you know that all the economic activities can be classified into primary sector, secondary sector and tertiary sector. Again, we have further classifications, but for simplification purposes, let us classify all the economic activities into primary, secondary and tertiary sector. Understand, primary sector activities are those activities from which we derive products directly from nature. For example, an ore which was produced thousands of years ago, we are directly extracting that from nature. That is why it constitutes a part of primary activity. All right. Crops, agricultural crops, we are sowing, and it is mostly with the help of nature we are getting the produce. That is a primary activity. Quarrying is a primary activity. Mining is a primary activity. On the contrary, secondary activity is nothing but the products obtained from the primary economic activity are transformed into other products. All right. For example, we take iron from the mines and transform into AC, car, fan, door, etc. This transformation is called as, all those activities which are involved in this transformation is called as secondary activity, and tertiary activity basically deals with services. With this concept in mind, let us try to understand this. Storing of agricultural produce. Production is a primary activity. Agricultural production is a primary activity, but storage of agricultural production is not a primary activity, neither it is a secondary activity. All right. Second, dairy farm, it is a primary activity because agriculture also includes animal husbandry. All right. This is wrong. Dairy farming is right. Mineral exploration is a tertiary activity. It is right. Understand this thing. I am not talking about mineral extraction here. I am talking about mineral exploration here. And there's a difference between extraction and exploration. Extraction basically includes mining. Exploration, on the contrary, includes processes like surveying, soil sampling, water sampling, using remote sensing to analyze or estimate how much of the ore is present in a particular region, or whether the ore is present in that particular region or not. So these are basically services which are provided. So this is a tertiary sector. This is right. And then weaving of cloth. Here a cotton is transformed. A cotton which is directly obtained from nature is transformed to a particular product. It's viewed. So it is a secondary activity. So 1 is wrong, 2, 3 and 4 are wrong. So how many options are right? Only 3 options are right? All right. Now this agricultural residues, corn grain, wastewater treatment sludge, wood mill waste, etc. So among them, which of them can be used as a raw material to produce a sustainable aviation fuel? All of them can be used as a raw material to produce a sustainable aviation fuel. With this question, I want to tell you something. In the exams, whichever exams you're going to take up, or in the next UPSC exam also, understand one thing, that energy is going to be of prime focus in your paper in general and for humanity in particular also. Why? Because energy is one of the biggest contributors for climate change. So to mitigate the effects of climate change, we need to shift our growth strategies to sustainable ways of producing energy, may it be through ethanol, bioethanol, biomethanol, hydrogen, alternative fuel cells, renewable energy, solar, etc. So any topic, whenever you read your newspaper which is associated with energy, that automatically becomes important. You need to understand the technology behind it and how is that particular energy produced, and what are the challenges and what are the benefits of producing that particular energy. So this energy is very important. Energy as a chapter is very much important for other exams also in the future. All right. Next is working capital and fixed capital. Look, understand one thing. Fixed capital is nothing but which is going to help you in the process of production. Anything which helps you in the process of production is capital. Now, what is fixed capital? Fixed capital usually have a term of greater than 1 year. You can use a particular product which is helping you in the process of production for more than 1 year. For example, computer in my office. I'm a software engineer. I've purchased a computer. I am able to use it for more than 1 year. Using once, I'm not able to consume it. I cannot consume it immediately. I have to use it repeatedly over a period of time. That helps in the process of production. That is a fixed capital. And working capital are raw materials, inventories, cash which you have, which you need to pay for your as the salaries of your staff. That is the working capital. With this concept in mind, let's try to solve. Farmer plow, can you use it in one go only? No, he cannot use it. So he will use it repeatedly over a long period of time. So this is a fixed capital, not a working capital. Computer, so this is wrong. Computer is a fixed capital. Yes, it is fixed capital. Yarn used by the viewer. Yarn is a raw material. Raw material. So it is a working capital, not a fixed capital. So this is the wrong answer. And then petrol, yes, it is a working capital. So only 2 are right. Okay. So next is, he talks about 3D virtual world. 3D virtual world, I don't have to tell you, it is metaverse. This was a very easy question. All right, anybody who is in touch with reality as of now, I mean, what is happening in the tech field, the frontier technology, everyone will be aware of this fascinating virtual world of metaverse. All right, next is about the rules imposed by RBI while treating foreign banks. Consider the following statements. No minimum capital required. All right. Why does a bank require capital? Now understand, there are certain norms called as the Basel norms. Now Basel norms are those hygienic practices which the banks have to follow, so that the chances of banks failing come down. All right. So among the Basel norms, one of the most important parameter which you have to look for is the capital requirements. All right. So for example, the capital to risk weighted asset ratio. So it is, since every bank has to follow a Basel norm, every bank has to have a capital requirement. You can arrive at that also. So this is a wrong statement. So every bank needs a minimum capital requirement which will act like a cushion in terms of whenever it is in crisis. All right. Now let us understand the second question. This is a right answer, but understand questions like these, which are very factual, will become very tricky in your exam. I understand this is a bit very difficult to understand questions because it was pure fact, but this is the right fact. So option 2 is right. All right. And there is one learning from this. Nowadays, elimination strategies, elimination techniques have been popular in the social media. Don't fall for that. This is a right statement. Though it has fact, it is a right statement. So blindly following something without paying heed to knowledge is a crime in UPSC. Understand, knowledge is the king. Don't fall for those last minute elimination tips and strategies. All right. Now let us come with the next thing, CSR rules. All right. Now this is the right statement and this is a wrong statement. Now, obviously, when I'm talking about social responsibility, me gifting myself or my employees something cannot be considered as a social responsibility because there is selfishness vested. All right, social responsibility is inherently altruistic, so by its very common nature, you can use your common sense and understand that this is the right statement. And it does specify, CSR rule does specify spending on CSR activities. So option A is right. All right, now collateral, borrowing and lending obligations. So this is a tool of a money market. It is nothing like a bond. CBLO, it simply functions, it is nothing but like, it functions like a bond only. All right, so it is a money market. All right, money market instrument. All right, now these were this thing. So understand one thing. This year the focus of UPSC has been on banking and financial markets in particular. All right, but does it mean that you have to focus more next year and reduce your focus on other subjects? No, UPSC can always change the trend. All right, so make sure, my suggestion to you is, the question, my insights of this exam was, the paper was very, you can say above easy to moderate level, not more than that. All right, apart from that, you need to understand that basics are going to be founding the core of your syllabus preparation. All right, so I wish you all the best. So all those people who are clearing the cutoff, I congratulate you, but make sure that you are going to use your time well, judiciously, prudently, and don't waste your time. All right, get back and start your studies soon. All those people who are facing a cat on the wall situation, that is, you may be in the pond or on the bank, you need to ensure that don't think about the result, but continue your preparation, because anyways, if you pass, well and good. Even in case if you don't, what you should do is, this time you can utilize it, come back, and then you can prepare well. All right, and for those people who are missing their cutoff, understand that you need to start your preparation for the next year now only. Plan properly, do your SWOT analysis, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, where you have gone wrong. All right, make a chart of it, and make sure, introspect that what else could be done so that you can be a better version of yourself and clear your UPSC next time. Thank you. This is Nikhil from IASBABA.